It's now time for me to take the quant section of this McGraw-Hill free online test, link in the description. I've already taken a full verbal section, and that's the previous video that I put out. As you can see, I didn't score as well as I might hope, 17 out of 20, although a couple of the questions you might dispute about the accuracy of the answer. Either way, I'm hoping that all the quant questions are super good, and I give it my best shot. In the real thing, I was lucky enough to get a 340, but here, as you can see, I might make mistakes. Just quickly on this video, I'm not going to have as much time to explain my answers, obviously, because I'm doing it under time conditions. If you find this at all helpful, please do leave a comment or a like. It'd be much appreciated. Either way, this is going to be fun. It should be half an hour unless I finish early. And I've got my little notepad here, my OneNote. See if this works. And then I'm going to do my calculations on here. So that should be good. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. Click on here. I haven't seen these questions before. 35 minutes, of course. Quantity A is 2 to the power of 60, and quantity B is 8 to the power of 20. Well, 8 is 2 cubed, and if 8 is 2 cubed, 8 to the power of 20 is 2 cubed to the power of 20, which equals 2 to the power of 60. So they're the same thing. That's fine. This one. Ooh, interesting equation here. Which is bigger? Ooh, so we've got a two-part equation. My first thought would be to factorize. So the second equation, let's do a new page, is 6 minus y squared plus 3y. That's the second part of the equation. And if I try and solve that, I'll move it all onto the right-hand side. So that'd be y squared plus 6y plus 3 on the right-hand side equals 0. If I move that to the right, yeah, perfect. Factorizing that, you get y plus... Does that factorize? That doesn't actually factorize, does it? Did I do that right? Take away 3y. Yeah, it doesn't factorize. Two numbers at times to get 3 and add to get 6. Okay, so that's not what they're asking for. Obviously the right-hand side factorizes x minus 5. But what we're going to do with this, what we're going to do here, let's think about this. Could pick numbers. It's a little bit desperate. I thought that would work. Okay, so is there enough? We could complete the square. That's a fancy technique. Might need some more space. Could solve that one on the right, this one here, by completing the square to find out what y is. It's a fancy technique. I don't know if they're expecting us to do this. That gives us a plus 9, but we want a plus 3, so it's minus 6. So that would be 6 equals y plus 3 squared. So root 6 equals y plus 3. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. So y equals root 6 minus 3 plus or minus root 6 minus 3. Root 6 is about 2.5, 2.4. So 2.4 minus 3 is about negative 0.4. Could use a calculator, but I can't be bothered. And negative 2.4 minus 3 is negative 5.4 roughly. So those are the two solutions. This is a fancy method called completing the square. I don't think I've done a video on it. And x, but how would you know what x is? Wow, why am I missing this? This is not good. How would you know x though? How would you work out x? Now, in a normal situation, I'd advise my students to move on, but I am pretty annoyed at being able to have one that I can't do so early. I guess D, but this is so annoying. I should be able to do this. That equation doesn't even make sense. I would just have to come back to this one. I'd recommend you guys come back to this one because otherwise it's taking up way too much time. Okay, so let's just guess D, but we'll come back to that one. That one's frustrating. Obviously, I don't know how to do that. Okay, working at a constant rate, Bob can. This is why we need to go fast on the easy ones to have time for those kind of ones. Working at a constant rate, Bob can produce X over 3 widgets in 8 minutes. Working at a constant rate, Jack can produce 2X widgets in 40 minutes. The number of minutes it will take Bob to produce 5X, the number of minutes to take Jack to produce 6X. Okay, so we should be able to do that quite quickly. What we would do here is make it equal. So if Bob can do X over 3 in 8 min, times both sides by 3, he can do X in 24 min. Then Jack can do 2X in 40, so he can do X in 20. So those are the two things. And this is Bob, this is Jack. So Bob producing 5X, times that by 5. He can do 5X in, what is that, 120. Mental math is helpful here. And Jack, 6X, times that by 6. That would also be 120. So they're equal. Okay. The price of a home increased by X% from 1993 to 1994. The price of a home decreased by X%. Okay, so I've done a video on something very similar to this. You end up with less than you started with. Price at the home at the beginning, price at home at the end. Price at the home at the beginning is more. Because if you increase by 20%, decrease by 20%, for example, you end up with actually less than you started with. So quantity A is bigger there. Save some time, just move on. Line P is defined by the equation that. Can't say my videos aren't helpful. That was literally a question that I made up and it came up. Line P is defined by that equation. The y-intercept of the line. Okay, so that's fine. We just literally rearrange it, divide it all by... Actually, move the 3x across first. 6 minus 3x, divide by 2. Y equals 3 minus 1.5, or 3 over 2x. So the y-intercept is the 3, and the slope is the minus 3 over 2. So the y-intercept is 3. The x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, you make y 0. So let's quickly find that. If we make y 0... I'm still teaching here, but I can't help it. Add 3 over 2 to both sides, so 3 over 2x equals 3, times both sides by 2, 3x equals 6, so x equals 2. So the x-intercept is 2, and the y-intercept is 3. So the y-intercept is bigger. Okay, hopefully we'll have time to come back to that second question, which completely threw me. The length of rectangle X is 20% greater than the length of rectangle Y. To a new page. The width. Totally would pick numbers here because this is confusing. So let's say we've got X being, or Y being 10. This is rectangle Y. And the length of rectangle X is 20% greater, so 12. Okay, and this is rectangle X. Otherwise, I'd be so confused if I didn't pick numbers here. You've got to ask yourself if you would have picked numbers because this makes it a lot easier. The width of rectangle X is 20% less. So if we make Y 10 again in terms of its width, and then the width of this is 20% less, so that's 8. What's bigger, the area of X? Well, that would be 96. Again, mental maths is helpful, and that would be 100. So the area of X is less, so area of Y is bigger. See how mental maths saves me using the calculator? Okay. If the ratio of stocks to bonds in a certain portfolio is 5:3, then which of the following cannot be the total number of stocks and bonds? Well, if the ratio is 5:3, that means the total is 8, right? 5 plus 3 is 8. So the actual total, we don't know it's 8, but it has to be a multiple of 8, which means that A is possible, C is possible, D is possible, E is possible, but not B, because B is not a multiple of 8. That's fine. For this question, indicate all the answer choices that apply. This one and this one, which of the following must be true. Okay, now when you have an odd power, you keep your sign. So if x cubed y5 is greater than 0, it must be positive positive for x and y, or negative negative. That's the only possibilities. But for the x squared one, it doesn't keep its sign. So for that x2, z3 to be negative, x could be positive or negative. We have no idea because the squared would make it positive either way. But we know the z would have to be a negative because if x was positive or negative, when you square it, it'd be positive, times that by a negative, and you get the negative. So that's what we know. We know x and y are the same sign, and we know z's negative. So we definitely know z's negative. We don't know for sure. It's not letting me click. How do I click this? Why is it not working? That's so weird. Not letting me click the answers. Okay, that's kind of weird. It does let me click other things. That's so freaky. Oh, why is it not letting me? See if I go previous, I could pick, right? And this one, I can't pick. That's really bad. But anyway, the answers are z is negative, x times y is greater than 0 because we know they're the same sign. So if you times them, you do get a positive regardless. Y times z we don't know because we don't know the sign of y. It could be plus or minus. X squared over z is negative. That's true. So E would also be one of the answers, even though it's not letting me pick, because regardless of x's sign, x squared is positive and z we know is negative. So that's true. And F would also be true because x times y has to be positive regardless because they're the same sign, and then times the negative of z and you do get a negative. So it'd be F, E, C and B, but it's not letting me pick that. Either way, I just have to move on. If a 6-sided die is rolled 3 times, what is the probability that the die will land on an even number exactly twice and an odd number exactly once? I always suggest to students with probability to write out with letters, and that's what I'm going to do here. Because it's only 3 times, there's only a small number of possibilities, right? It could be even, 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 odd, odd, even, odd, even, and 2 odds, so that'd be even, odd, 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 even, odd, and odd, even, and finally odd, odd. So there are 8 different possibilities, and they're saying what is the probability that die will land on an even number exactly twice? That's this one, and this one. This is why I use letters. It makes everything easy. So out of a total of 8 possibilities, 3 of them have even being twice. So 3 over 8. And this is why I use letters when I'm using probability. People are skeptical, but I love it. The percent change in profit from 2007 to 2008. So revenue expenses. Okay, so they want us to minus expenses from revenue to work out the profit. Okay, that's fine. So in 2007, we have revenue of 18, expenses of 15, so profit of 3. And in 2008, the difference is 14. From 26 to 12 is 14. So that's 1% increase. See if I can probably do this in my head actually. Changing profit from 2008 to 2009. In 2008, our profit was 14, as we just seen. In 2009, the profit was 11. So that percent change from 14 to 11 is quite a small change, like 20-30% change. But look at the percent change in, we actually have to do it. I didn't realize. We need to find the percent change and then find the percent change and then find how much bigger this percent is than the other. I thought they were just asking us to compare. Okay, so I can't use my head for that. I need a calculator. How do we do percent change? For the 3 to 14, we work out the difference, which is 11. Let's show you here. And then divide it by the original, which is 3. So that percent change was 3.66, which is 366%. What was the next percent change? Oops. How do we do it? Well, percent change is always the same. You do the difference between 14 and 11, which is 3, divided by the original, which is the 14 in this case. So that percent change is just 21%, 21.4%. As I said, let's do a 0.4 as well to be accurate. As I said, this percent change is way bigger, and that's what I thought the question was. But the question is actually asking that first percent change is what percent greater than the other percent change. So we're comparing these 2% changes to each other. Now, I've done a video on percent greater than. You do the difference, which in this case is 366.6 minus 21.4, divided by the term that comes after the word than. I talked about in that video how important it is to notice which one comes after the word than. And the one that comes after the word than is the change in profit from 2008 to 2009, which was the 21.4. So this divided by the 21.4, not divided by the 366. And that's 16.13, which is 1,613%, which is D approximately. Great question. Look over this question yourself because it's really important to understanding percent change and percent greater than. I'm teaching again, but I can't help it. I'm finishing this pretty early, aren't I? I'm on question 16 already. I've got time to go back to that question too. It's really annoying me. In 1998, the price of a home was a third greater than the original price. Okay, can you guess what I'm going to do here? Those of you who guess pick numbers, you're absolutely right. You know me very well. So the original I'm going to call 100. And then in 98, you can see when this test was written, by the way, because all the numbers are, maybe 2008. In 1999, the price of the home was a third greater than the original. So that's, actually, let's make it a multiple of, let's make the original 120. So it's a multiple of 3. So in 98, it's a third greater than that, which is 160. Okay, smart numbers, you go back and change your number. You don't just stick to a number. In 2008, the list price of the home was a half greater than the original price. So in 2008, half greater than the original. So half of 120 is 60, so it's now 180. It's gone up by 60 to 180. Remember, I didn't say half greater than 98, common mistake. It's a half greater than the original. By what percent did the list price increase from 98 to 2008? So if it went from 160 to 180, so that's just a simple percent change formula. It's the difference, which is 20, divided by the original, which is 160. You can almost do that in your head. That's, cancel out the zeros, that's 1 over 8, which is a good one to memorize. That's 12.5%. That's a good one to know off by heart. Okay, notice how much less I have to use the calculator because my mental math. On the xy plane, the center of circle 0 is at 0.32. Okay, if the point 10, 2 lies outside of the circle. Okay, this is a nice little question. I've seen these kind of ones before. So the circle is at 3, 2, the center of the circle. And then they're saying point 10, 2, which is just horizontally across, is outside of the circle. What are they telling you here? They're telling you that, which could be like a radius, if you imagine this being the circle, is, well, what is that length? From 3 to 10, that's 7. But we know this point is outside the circle. So this actual circle is smaller than that. So the radius basically has to be less than 7. That's what they're telling you with that. But then they're telling you the point 38, which is up here somewhere, is inside the circle. What's that length from 3,2 to 3,8? That's a length of 6 vertically. So the radius is at least 6. So we know it's greater. It said inside the circle, not on the edge of the circle, it said inside. So it has to be greater than 6. It can't be equal to 6. Has to be greater than 6, has to be less than 7, and therefore it's 6.5. Okay? And then that's the end of the test. So I finished 15 minutes early. But let's see if it now allows me to fill in that question. Was it question 12 or something? They didn't even allow me to... No, it's still not allowing me to click it. Okay, well, you guys know what my answer is. It's F, E, C, and B. Now, the one question that I could not do, very annoyingly... Ooh, did I miss one? Oh my god, I missed one. That's bad. Whoa, I missed 2. Where did that come from? That is so weird. No wonder I finished early. This is surreal software. But anyway, you get 2 bonus questions. Which is bigger? 1 over that or 1 over that? Well, let's just think about this logically. 3 to the t, given that t is greater than 1, if you look at the bottom, the only difference between those fractions is that you've got a 3 to the t and a 2 to the t. And 3 to the t, because t is greater than 1, is got to be bigger. And if 3 to the t is bigger than 2 to the t, that fraction, 3 over 3 to the t, is going to be smaller. In other words, the amount in quantity A, that 1 plus, that 3 over 2 to the t, is going to be bigger because it has a smaller denominator. Try to follow along, it's quite complicated. Let's just say that again. I know I'm teaching here, but I've got the time, I've got 13 minutes. 3 to the t is a bigger number. You agree with that? 3 to the t is going to be a bigger number than 2 to the t because t is greater than 1. If 3 to the t is a bigger number, that's a bigger denominator, meaning it's a smaller fraction. So you agree the fraction 3 over 3 to the t is a smaller fraction. If it's a smaller fraction, 1 plus that number is going to be a smaller result than 1 plus the bigger fraction. So at the moment on the right, 1 plus 3 over 3 to the t is smaller than 1 plus 3 over 2 to the t. But overall, if we have a smaller denominator on the right, that means overall we have a bigger answer because all of that was in the denominator. Smaller denominator means a bigger fraction. Therefore, quantity B is bigger. Now that was so much, I would actually have to check my own logic just to check I got that right. 3 to the t is bigger. Therefore, that fraction is smaller. Therefore, that entire denominator is smaller. Therefore, the overall fraction is bigger. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's do the other question I missed, which was not that one. I want to come back to that one. This one. Product of the consecutive integers from 20 through 73. The product of the consecutive integers from 18 through 72 inclusive. Seems really hard, but it shouldn't be because these two have massive overlap, right? Quantity A is 20 times 21 times 22 all the way up to 72 times 73. That's quantity A. Quantity B is basically the same thing, right? It's just 18 times 19 times 20 times 21 all the way up to 72. So these, they all have in common. From here to here, it's all in common. So the only difference between quantity A and quantity B is quantity B has an extra 18 times 19 at the beginning, and quantity A has a 73 at the end. And what's going to have more impact, timesing by 73 or timesing by 19 and 18 in addition? Well, 18 times 19, I don't know what it is, but it's something like 300 and something. So timesing by that is going to make your answer way bigger than just timesing by an extra 73 for quantity A. So don't be intimidated by these questions. They look really hard, but write out the pattern and see what you can spot. Again, I've never seen these questions before, but very typical kind of stuff. So quantity B is bigger. So let's just see that I got every question right. I didn't miss any others. So that one, totally confident. I'm going to come back to this one. Wait, why is it missing out question 2 now? This is so weird. It's not letting me come back to question 2. Oh. Confident, all of these. And this one I missed. What the hell? This is so weird. Anyway, you just have to ignore the order of these questions. I'm just doing as many as the software is allowing me to do. The function f of x is defined as f of x equals that, and f of a minus 2. That just means people are intimidated by functions, but all you have to do is put the thing in the brackets, which was f of a minus 2. So in this case, the a minus 2, we're going to put it inside the function. How do we put it inside this function? So they tell you what the function is. 3x plus 2 plus 5. That's the function. We know that's the function because of the title f of x. How are we going to put a minus 2 into that function? Well, we just replace the x with an a minus 2. That's how you put something inside of a function. You replace the x's by the thing in the brackets, which in this case was the a minus 2. A minus 2 plus 2 is just a. 3 times a is 3a, so it's 3a plus 5. Let's see if I missed any others. I did miss this. This is crazy. You must have been so confused when watching this. You must be like, he's skipping so many. It wasn't on purpose. What is the greatest integer x such that that over that is less than 1? Well, what do we do with exponents? We prime factorize. So 125 is 5 to the power of 3 x. I always talk about prime factorization in my videos, and I say it's really important. I say it always comes up, and this is proof. And that's prime factorizing. So the top line is now 5 to the 3x, and the bottom line is 5 to the 12, because we multiply when it's brackets. For that to be less than 1, the denominator has to be bigger than the numerator. So 5 to the 12 has to be bigger than 5 to the 3x, otherwise this fraction wouldn't be less than 1. So the greatest integer that x could be would be 3. 3 times 3 is 9, which is less than 12. If we make it 4, 3 times 4 is equal to 12. So the fraction would equal 1, but it has to be less than 1. So the greatest integer x could be is 3. I'll write that here. All right, 3. Okay. So, yeah, there's so many more that I missed. This is just surreal. The order I'm doing this in is just so whack, but who knows when this is going to end. 5 friends agree to split the cost of a lunch equally. If one of the friends does not attend the lunch, the remaining 4 friends would each have to pay an additional $6. What is the cost of the lunch? Well, if the remaining 4 friends each paid an additional $6, 4 times 6, they had to pay an extra $24 because the guy left. Which means originally people were paying $24. To cover that guy who left, they had to all chip in a total of $24. So that means while the guy was still there, each person was paying $24. So 5 friends were each paying $24. And so the total cost of the meal must have been $120. And we can check this because if he leaves, there's only 4 people now. And divide that by 4, the cost of the meal, 120 divided by 4 is 30. And so the price per person has gone from 24 to 30, which is an extra 6. Thereby proving that the cost of the lunch was originally 120. Just a quick recap, because I've got the time to teach this. 1 person left, so 4 people had to pay an additional 6. 4 times 6 is 24, so that person who left should have been paying 24 that was covered by the other people. If the person that left was paying 24, then all 5 of the friends must have been paying 24. 24 times 5 is 120. Okay, this one, I'm so sorry that the order of this was completely whack, but okay, this one. For how many years did expenses exceed revenue? I must have just clicked on question 16 or 17 by accident and skipped so many. For how many years did expenses exceed revenue? Just the first 2 years, right? That's when the dotted line, 10 was above 7, 8 was above 6. 2 years, I'm not missing any years. Can't see any years that I'm missing here. No, that looks fine to me. Okay, so I missed this one as well. If the revenues in 2009 were $3 million less, if the revenues in 2009 were $3 million less, they're saying like 26 instead of 29, and the expenses for 2009 were $4 million more, then the average mean profit for the 10 years shown would be approximately how much less? Ooh, that's a lot of calculation. Can we avoid just working out the profit for each of them? Probably not. Okay, we're probably going to have to do this the long way, which is working out the profit each time. Okay, so the profit in 2000 was -3, profit in 2001, -2, then +4, then +4, then +9, and +6. There may have been a shortcut, but I can't see it. +5, +3, 2008 it was +14, 2009 it was +11. So how to work out the average of that? We add it all up and divide by how many terms. So I can do most of that in my head. -3 minus 2 is -5, +4 -1, +4 is 3, +9 is 12, +6 is 18, +5 is 23, 26, +14 is 40, +11 is 51. 51 divided by how many years is that? 10. So the average profits were $5.1 million. $5.1 million. Oh, you know, there was a much easier way. I mean, in 2009, the profit would have been how much less? Well, if expenses were $4 million more and revenues were $3 million less, then the profit goes down by 7, right? Because it goes down by 7 million. We've got 4 million more expenses and 3 million less revenue. So our profit went down by 7 million. I shouldn't have done that long calculation. I'm being a bad influence on you guys. So our profits went down by 7 million, but they want that as an effect on the average of 10 years. If that was an effect on the average of 1 year, it'd just be 7 million down the average. But over 10 years, divide that by 10, it only affects the average by 700,000. So I didn't need to do that long calculation. Sorry about that. Okay. What? There's another one. Like, how many did I miss here? Like, bloody hell. This is so freaky. Okay, I've got 2 minutes for this one. The figure above represents a square photograph bordered by a frame that has a uniform width of 3. If the frame and the picture have the same area, and each of the photograph sides measures x inches, which of the following equations is true? Well, it said the area of the frame and the picture have the same area. So the area of the picture is easy. That's x squared. No, that diagram is really inaccurate. It's not square, but anyway. The area of the frame is x plus 6 length times x plus 6 height, but then minus the x squared of the actual picture, because we just want the frame, which is x squared plus 12x plus 36 minus x squared, which is just 12x plus 36. And they're saying that equals the original photograph, which is x squared. I'm rushing this a little bit, so I'm running out of time. So that's the equation that's correct. And which one of these equals that? Well, I have to multiply each of those out. So that's what we're aiming for. X squared equals 12x plus 36. Can I factorize that? No, I just have to work out each of the answers. So that first one will be x squared plus 12x plus 36 equals 2x squared. To rush now, there's no explaining. Plus 9, that's not going to be the same thing. C squared plus 18x plus 81, that's not the same thing. 12x, the only way... Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure which of those. Didn't have time to do it. Maybe the first one? It's hard to tell though. It looked the most similar. I didn't really have time to do that one because of the craziness. Anyway, it's a crazy test, but that's what I get. Okay. So let's just go through these. Obviously, what's so weird about that test, as you saw, is that I had to do the questions in reverse order. And that second question really threw me off. But you notice I bounced back, right? The second question was crazy. I did take quite a lot of time. And the test didn't even allow me to pick all the answers. But if you get the easier questions right more quickly, and your mental arithmetic is pretty good, and you practice your mental arithmetic, that can save time as well. I'll briefly go through these, not every single one. This one we saw, that was fairly easy. That was just prime factorization. Then it skips, like it's not even telling me question 2. This software, I can't really recommend it, to be honest. This one you saw was fairly straightforward. Why is it not telling me question 4? Do I have to click on it? I'm clicking on question 4, it's not even allowing me. This is crazy. Okay, that was correct. 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 A lot of these were quite good questions. The one I did see. Why is it just giving me the odd ones? Yeah, that was correct. That was correct. I was about to do it the long way, but then I saw the shortcut. And that was correct. Okay, that was lucky. That one, obviously, I didn't have time for, but I just saw that it was closest to A, and that's where I had to guess. You saw where I created the equations and simplified it, but I just couldn't expand each of them quickly enough, and so I just saw that A was the closest, so I guessed that. So that was a little bit lucky. So last question, no. Oh, that's so weird. Now I'm on the even numbers. Now I can go through the even answers. This is such surreal software. So sorry about this, but we are going to get to see the answers. That was fun about the radius. For any of these explanations, please do pause the video and look at them in more detail if you want further explanation. That was fine. Picking numbers. That was fine. Yeah. Percentage change, really tough, but if you know the formula, quite easy. That was fine. Use letters for probability. That was fine. I got that right, remember. They just didn't allow me to click it. So it was B, C, E, and F based on the rationale that I told you. So I'm on 100% so far. It all comes down to that question 2, which I basically couldn't do and had to guess. That was fine. That was fine. That was fine. Just deducing which denominator. And got this one wrong, which I probably deserve. What did I miss here? Congratulations to those of you, by the way, watching who got this right. So 19 out of 20. Not the best result I've ever done, but not too bad in the circumstances. And either way, I hope that my doing it together and even seeing me struggle on one helps give you reassurance and gives you insight into how some of my methods apply to a real test. Hope this helped, and see you in the next video.